How's it going, guys? So this is the second time recording this, so I'm hoping this will record. I didn't get a ton of footage from this week, but I did kind of lay out on the days I didn't get any footage what I did. So you'll see again on my lower hypertrophy day, I did the sets of 8 squats. That's a typo right there. I'll change that. The deficit deadlifts was my PR, so that 360 for 6 was a PR. I think it's a 20-pound PR actually. I just kind of randomly felt like pulling from a deficit that day, and it felt awesome. So then moving on to my upper hypertrophy day, the big PR for me here was that 225 for 8. That was a touch and go, but again, even if that's touch and go for me, that's great progress. 225 used to feel heavy, and now I'm hitting it for hypertrophy numbers. So just really good news there the first 2 days of training. And I do have some clips, just one clip from my lower power day. Again, I've talked about this day before, kind of the purpose behind it, but again, it's a lot of practice, I guess. Trying to move the weights fast. It's not your typical speed work that you'll see like in West Side of like 40 to 60%. You know, it's definitely a lot heavier than that. I think this was 80 or 85%, something like that. But yeah, it's really fun, and again, it doesn't beat you up as much. It's kind of another day of practice. And as you'll see on this upper power day, it allows you to kind of get into some other lifts that you think should be key, like that push press. I ended up PRing on that. Probably not something I can really do if I already hit, several sets of bench press before that. So yeah, it gives you the opportunity to practice your big lift and also get some more quality work in with assistance work, which I think is really key too, with some big exercises at least. Now I got on some actual footage for this week. So again, my main 2 days of training, I guess, are my lower strength days, my lower strength and my upper strength days. These are when I will pick a percentage, and it increases each week. So I think this week was 90% of my 1 rep max, and I will just hit 3 sets of AMRAPs. So again, it's not a 1 set AMRAP, kind of like if you ran 5 through 1, where you're trying to hit like 3+ or 5+. It's more of how much volume I can accumulate over the course of that day. So I'm really worried about my total reps over the course of the 3 sets. So for example, I hit 3, 6, and 6 on my squat day this week, which is a total of 16 reps. Last week I hit 365 for 19 reps, I believe. Yes, it was 19 reps. So again, I'm more worried about that total number than one given set. But with that being said, I did PR this week. I hit 2 sets of 6. I never hit 364, or yeah, 374 actually for 6. I hit it 2 sets of 6. So really good progress for me. I haven't really had any pains outside of just little dinky things that don't matter on really any exercise for the past 3 weeks, which has been awesome. And considering how long you've been following me, I talked about this too when I was squatting every day for the course of like 30-something days. It's kind of counterintuitive, but I felt really healthy. I needed less mobility work to warm up, and I'm kind of getting that same feeling again as I'm squatting 3 times a week. So right here is probably the only thing that didn't go very well this week. This is just one set of 2 here. So again, after my squats, I'll pull for those 3 sets of AMRAP again. So 90% for me was 418. And I was really expecting to pull these for a lot more than doubles. Honestly, probably somewhere in the 4 to 5 rep range, which is what I was looking for. And considering the speed of that first rep, I thought I had that in me. And this is going to sound like a big floppy excuse, but these bars in this specific facility are incredibly hard, if that makes sense. And I couldn't really hold on to the bar. My hand was just kind of like, my skin was ripping off, and pretty much all I could manage was a double. I think if I pull in a different facility that we have, I can fix that problem. So I'll probably end up pulling our football facility next week, pulling heavy, and seeing if I can improve that number. But nonetheless, that was, again, the only, I want to say, like kind of down point of my week. And again, I think it was more of a grip and a bar issue than a strength issue. And moving on to another huge PR for me, this was my upper strength day. So the 3 sets of AMRAP were at 231. And without benching with benching without a spotter on this day, I kind of was hesitant because I felt good. I was jacked up to lift, but again, when you don't have a spotter for bench press, it's kind of hard to really push it and get closer to failure. But definitely, as you'll see on my third and final set, I did get pretty damn close. I ended up hitting it for 5. So I hit a set of 4, another set of 4, and then a final set of 5. So that's a total of 13 reps, which is pretty good for 90% of my bench press. And this set right here is the PR. You'll definitely see the grind at the end. So yeah, overall this week went very, very well. So I had 2 PRs on bench press, 1 PR on squat, and then a deficit deadlift PR, then a push press PR, and maybe 1 or 2 other ones in there. So yes, this was my 3rd week on HPS, which again stands for hypertrophy, power, and strength. If you want to learn more about kind of this style of training, which I've talked about before, called DUP, which stands for Daily Undulating Periodization, I would highly recommend reading Mike Zordos's I think it was his PhD research or his PhD dissertation, or possibly his master's dissertation. I'm sure if you just Google it really quickly, you'll find it. It's something like the effect of DUP on trained powerlifters or something like that. Definitely look for that. It's not a short read. I'll kind of warn you. If anyone's familiar with the thesis, it's years and years of work, 1, 2, maybe even longer years of work that people put into this. So it's probably about 70 or 80 pages if I recall correctly. But if you want a thorough understanding of DUP and what it is and how to implement it, it's definitely probably the best single resource that I've seen. And like I've said before, this programming that I'm doing for the 6 weeks is almost a carbon copy of what he did in his dissertation. So you'll get a lot more out of that. You'll understand like the concepts behind why he likes to do hypertrophy, power, and strength, and you'll just get a lot of stuff from it. Especially if you don't have a big exercise physiology background, you don't need. It's not incredibly complicated. It's an easy read, especially if you're interested in exercise, like I'm sure you are if you're watching my videos. So yeah, guys, tons of PRs this week. The weights will be getting heavier, and I'll be excited for the next 3 weeks of training. So thank you guys for following me as always. Subscribe to my channel and like this video, all that cool stuff, and I'll see you next time. Take care.